I like that when they get to his house, he's like, now, girls, we gotta be really quiet if we're gonna go in the hot tub because my dad's home.
Or did I mention that I have a hot tub? Yeah, it was the first thing you said.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Blockbuster, where three guys talk about movies that we like and sometimes don't like. I'm your host, the first one, Ben.
Hi, I am Mitch.
And I am Lucas.
Today we're talking about a movie called Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person. A lot of syllables. A lot of syllables. Excited to get into it.
It's very like aughts, like alt band song title, you know? like a lot of words.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like a Death Consciousness song title.
Yeah.
I chose this movie because last month we picked a fucking litany of cerebral, heady, deeply analytical movies that give you thinky pain. And I needed a break. I needed some variety. I needed something fucking easy. And this movie it's easy. It's an easy movie. Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person is a coming-of-age story about a young vampire named Sasha who loves humans a little too much to suck their blood, and at the behest of her parents, who want her to be a self-sufficient creature of the night, is kicked out of the house and forced to find food on her own. Subtitles. I guess since it's my movie, I'll start. This subtitle section is going to be a little longer than most because we're all going to have to reiterate the title.
Yeah.
Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person. It does what it says on the tin.
It does.
I like that.
Humanist vampire seeking consenting suicidal person. If the Marias were French and vampires.
Wait, who are the Marias?
I don't get it.
Here's your consenting suicidal person.
What?
You don't know the Marias?
Maria Antoinette. The Marias. The Marias.
Yeah.
You showed me the Marias.
I thought
Bro,
you knew about that.
That is a deep reference.
Is that a deep cut?
Surprised you thought either of us would pick up on that.
There's one viewer out there. There's one listener out there who gets it.
And that
And they're
viewer is me.
hyped. That listener is me.
All right, Mitch.
Right. Humanist vampire seeking consenting suicidal person. Cougar seduces a boy with bite play.
She's not actually a cougar, though, is she?
No, she is. She is actually a cougar. This is a debate we can get into. I'm curious. Yeah. So before we get into it, I guess first impressions. I'll start. I've seen this movie several times. I love it personally, but I have a lot of critical issues with it. I think it's great in spirit, but kind of poor in quality in a lot of ways. But I'll still defend it and probably inflate its rating just because of how fucking cute it is.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. I thought it was super fun. I thought it was really funny. I laughed a lot during this film. It's just like very sweet. One of my alternative titles was 500 Nights of Sasha.
Yeah, I like that one better.
That one's really good. Oh, yeah, that one's really good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I had a great time.
Lucas?
I liked it a lot. I thought it was super cute, super fun and funny. It was a great coming of age story. I thought the shots they're not like, ooh, this is like immaculately beautiful, but they're highly like stylized and I really enjoy them. Yeah, all around just like a fun experience.
Yeah, this is a point we'll kind of get into the movie, and it's kind of one of my main criticisms with it. I mean, that being said, it's also one of, I believe, my weakest criticisms of it, but it's, for me, the biggest one. And we'll get into it, but just to kind of summarize it here, I think all the elements of the movie are doing a great job emphasizing what's there, but the metaphorical implications of the narrative are so obvious that all the emphasis just comes across as functional. And to put it succinctly, the way I phrased it is, in other words, the details are growing new leaves and not planting new seeds. It's all kind of in service of what you get, which isn't a bad thing. It's just that it'll never break that good movie ceiling. You know what I mean?
Yes, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. Not that it's trying to. It's not trying to fucking blow you away. Yeah. I'm glad you guys liked it. It's a French Canadian movie. The whole thing's in French.
I knew it.
Yeah, French. How'd you know it?
So I knew it was like French, obviously, but French Canadian. The French Canadians say "we," but instead of like a "we" sound, it's like a "on," or like "wong." It's a very weird way of saying yes, but you know.
Also, if you paid attention in the title scroll, it said like Canadian Pictures or something like that. It's pretty obvious.
Well, some of us didn't. Okay.
Lucas is our resident French speaker. Yeah, he's fluent.
Bonjour. And that's also a
partially
lie.
joking.
It's a flat out lie.
I'm only partially joking. It was directed and co-written by Ariane Louis. Excuse me. Hold on. I have the pronunciation of her name pulled up, and I practiced it several times, and I still fucked it up. 1 second. Ariane Louis-Seize. That's her name. Ariane Louis-Seize. She directed it and co-wrote it. It stars Sarah Monpetit and Felix Antoine Benard. Man, I practiced. I was so fucking proud of the fact that I practiced it, and I still fucked it up. Normally, I like to do a lot of research on movies before these things, so we have a lot of things to talk about. But there's not a whole lot of information on this movie out there. It wasn't a big box office hit. It made about $100,000. Very indie movie. The actors haven't been in a whole lot of other things. As far as I can tell, Sarah Monpetit is pretty cool. I think she's an environmental activist or something. So not a whole lot of information I'll be able to give. So this is going to be a pretty speculative episode. And I imagine pretty light because it's not very heady. It just, it gets in and it gets out. The movie starts at Sasha's 6th birthday party. Her parents have given her an electric piano, which she's excited about. They've also hired a clown, which she's also excited about. But it slowly becomes clear that he wasn't brought here to entertain, rather to be sucked dry in the vampy way. However, Sasha, whose fangs should sprout in response to her first feeding instinct as a normal part of young vampire development, covers her traumatized eyes as her family tears this poor clown apart.
Yeah, I was scared for that clown like the moment I saw him. And the auntie is like licking her lips and stuff. This guy's not here as a children's entertainer.
Also, I think that this part confused me, or later on when she was like, "I'm 65." Is she? Was she actually 65?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if she was just like memeing. She's like, "You don't know vampires."
They say vampires age slowly. Like they live a long time, but they just age slower.
One bit of information I can give you is from the IMDb trivia section. Apparently, the clown did not know that he was being hired for a movie, for this movie. He thought he was being hired for a children's birthday party, which I think is kind of cool. Her parents take her to their vampy doctor, and it's deduced that she's just a late bloomer. So in the meantime, she's given little blood baggies that she can suck the blood out of with a straw. It's insanely cute.
Yeah, blood bag juice box in the back of the car. Very funny. I also really like the world building of this whole sort of blue collar vampire society where they have their own vampire doctors and vampire child psychologists and stuff.
Yeah, it's I wouldn't be surprised if the whole idea for the movie was the whole genesis for the movie itself was the idea of a child vampire drinking blood out of a little blood baggie. It's such a brilliant idea that encapsulates so many cool ideas that you could jump off from that wouldn't be surprised. It shows up a lot throughout the movie, and it's so fucking cute. You got little tiny Sasha in the backseat with her little blood baggie. Aw.
Also, I love her dad. The
Yes.
dad is such a rock star in this movie.
Yep.
He's
an
sticking
MVP.
up for her. He's so sweet and supportive. It's great.
The dad specifically, like the very first scene where her fangs aren't coming out, and they're like, "What's going on?" The mom is like essentially blaming the dad for being too soft on her. I feel like I do this with every movie, but here's some more gay shit. I feel like there's a lot of parallels in this coming of age story of like this person isn't growing up like the norms, and the soft father is not allowing you to have a good representation to grow up in the way that a child should. Felt very relatable to me. But yeah, the dad is very sweet and just like cares about his daughter so much.
That's a cool detail to notice. I also wrote down notes about how cool the dad is. I said MVP, super supportive, doesn't rush his daughter into anything she's not ready for, but the mother is frustrated by the arrangement. Sasha grows to it after the credit sequence. Sasha grows to an adolescent, plays her keyboard for a group of humans. She's busking. Is that the phrase, busking, or the word?
Yeah. Yeah, busking. This is back-to-back films that have been French language with our protagonists playing Four Seasons on the piano. As soon as that scene opened, I'm like, oh my God, it's Vivaldi. Back at it.
Back at it again, one of those dank memes.
Whoever the hairstylist of this movie is deserves an award because Sasha's hair is on point.
Yeah.
So on point. It's jet black. She's got the bangs, and she's also got a tiny triangle part that's cut out in the front, just kind of exquisitely, and it screams vamp. In case you guys don't know, I am a huge fan of vampires. I think they're awesome narratively, aesthetically. I fucking love them. They're great. So Sasha, while she's busking, a bunch of people put change in her keyboard case. But one person puts a swirl cookie into her keyboard case. So Sasha, after she gets the cookie, sits in her 70s-inspired teenage room and sniffs the cookie that she got. Then goes to the kitchen and gets a blood baggie, enjoys it, frustrating her mother, of course, in the process, and lies in her room while her parents argue about her dependency, and she overhears it.
Dad's still fighting the good fight, though, after all these years. He's still got her back.
Excellent set design on display. Not only does it look cool, but it's legible. It makes for good, interesting compositions and looks good from a lot of different angles. Whenever Sasha's in a room, she's always lying on like a different pillow at a different angle. It's a really useful set, expertly crafted. But again, just the service of it is so underutilized. It's like there's a perfect opportunity here to just soak it in details. But if you did that, it would make it a much headier movie than it's trying to be, and it would kind of get away from itself. I kind of want this movie to be remade with the same people with a bigger budget and give them way more time and just see what they do with it. Anyway, she goes back out the next night to busk with her keyboard again, and while she sets up, she notices a boy standing on the edge of a building in front of her. He's clearly toying with the idea of jumping off, and she's clearly intrigued by him. It's, in my opinion, one of the subtler parts of the movie, because all the subtlety in the movie essentially is encapsulated by Sasha's feelings towards Paul, who, spoiler alert, is this guy on the side of the building, and whether she wants to eat him, kiss him, kill him, or live with him. And in this moment, Sasha just stares at him, and we have to decide for ourselves what she's thinking.
That bowling alley that he's thinking about jumping from is maximum 2 stories.
Yeah. Some douchebag comes outside and tells Paul to jump or help me with the brats. Because his coworker and literally everyone on the fucking planet treats him like shit. Paul goes back inside the bowling alley where he works, proceeds to hate his job, and when he leaves at the end of the day, he finds that someone has poured melted cheese into his shoes.
This guy, this bully, I don't remember his name, but Henry, the bully, he's just like every first service job supervisor that's like the same age as you, but like talks down to you.
That scene where Paul finds his shoes are filled with nacho cheese. It's like that's one of those like, I don't know, movie bullies.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I don't feel like anybody would actually do this because like think about who's gonna have to clean that up. Like, but you know, it's the movies. We're letting it slide. It's getting the point across. Henri is a douche.
That's sort of what I mentioned before. This movie is not subtle at all.
No. Yeah.
It's not even trying to be, so.
But I think it's good that it like happens right away because then you're like, okay, you know what's gonna like, you know what you're in for.
Okay, so Paul walks home Question mark. What he really does is he walks through a yard full of storage containers and is stalked by a creature of the night. The creature of the night in this case being Sasha. I have a lot to say about this scene. He's walking through a yard full of shipping containers and he like props up a ladder on one. It's never really fully. Is he walking home? Is this where he hangs out?
I think he was just trying to find like the nearest thing to jump off.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So I guess he walks through the yard of shipping containers to throw himself off of one, and is stalked by Sasha, who he notices standing on top of a pile of shipping containers, and then she smiles at him from atop of it, a sinister smile. When he notices this, he tries to run away in fear, but collides with one of the metal boxes, busting his head open. Concerned Sasha scurries down to see if he's okay, notices the blood on his forehead, and boom, her fangs sprout, which is something that didn't happen before. She sprints away, and we're treated to one of the several hilarious Sasha runs from one end of the screen to another in a wide shot, very exaggerated moments. I think this is one of two of them. They're great. They're hilarious. But yeah, my thoughts on this scene. I think there's an issue with the emotional momentum of it. We start with Sasha stalking him, going so far as to do the creepy "I see you" whistle thing. You know, she does that whistle, and then she smiles sinisterly when he notices her. But for me, that's out of character for her, because up until this point, what little we do know about Sasha so far includes the fact that she has a soft spot for humans and doesn't want to hurt them. This behavior doesn't track with that, so already we're off on a shaky foot. But then Paul hurts himself, and her demeanor immediately becomes sympathetic like it was before, so now we're trying to reset to the frame of mind we were at before. But we're only given a few seconds to do so, because almost immediately the emotional focus of the scene shifts again to her feeding instincts when she sees the blood on his forehead. The emotions in the scene are tangled, and there's a few possible explanations, in my opinion. The first one, it might be a scripting issue. It's possible that Sasha stalking Paul was written with the intention of it seeming like Sasha was toying with her food, which is out of character with no explanation and results in a confusing character behavior. The other might be a directorial issue. It's possible the director wanted to portray Sasha with a certain emotion when she flashes her sinister smile. But considering a lot of the movie involves the relationship between a girl and the guy she both has a crush on and wants to eat, the nuanced idea she had in mind probably just didn't translate well to the screen. And it's also possible that it was an editing issue. Maybe the editor was trying to use that shot to say something that doesn't translate. I don't know what it is. I don't even know if you guys agree with my criticism of it.
I think that's fair criticism, and it's not something I noticed, this being the first time I'd seen this movie. I guess my interpretation was it was almost like a curiosity thing. Like, who's this weird guy that's trying to kill himself? I don't know exactly what her motivation was. I think the one thing that is clear maybe from the rest of the scene is that when her fangs come in, she gets scared. Like, she's scared of that natural vampire instinct that takes over, and she just scuttles out of there because she's like intrigued, hungry, but her greater morals prevail.
I'd agree. It's a little clunky of a scene. I think like I don't know. The way I took it is like a lot of this movie I relate to like vegans or like people who are like morally like understand the moral argument for veganism but love that tasty meat, and that she's like, you know, she has these morals that she doesn't want to kill anybody, and she's like, who's this person? Ooh, they're gonna do the dirty work for me. Like, how interesting, let's see where this goes. And I think convenient. There is an element of her, how convenient, a little element of her that is a little like excited by the prospect that somebody might just do the dirty work for her.
Yeah, interesting. I wonder if my reading of the straightforwardness of this movie is like, I wonder if I went back and watched it with a vegan interpretation, if there's actually any subtext there. I bet there is a lot.
I feel like there is some. There's one moment later on that I will mention where it really reminds me of veganisms. I don't know, like a lot of the stuff with like the queer elements that I noticed are all little ideas or little discrete ideas that are all there because of the fact that this is a coming of age story. I don't know.
I mean, You could interpret it also as some it's more piggybacking off of your sort of like queer analysis of it, and I guess I saw it more as like a cultural thing, you know, when the black sheep of the family doesn't fit into the cultural norm, you know, whatever that may be, religious, sexual orientation,
Vegans.
being a little goth girl in a normal family or whatever. Like some kind of suburban narrative.
And if you are a goth girl from like a prim and proper family and you're around the age of 29, hit me up.
I hate you so much.
I did not consent to being a part of this ad.
This grift.
Okay. All right. So yeah, that Sasha gets cold feet, chickens out, and runs away. Doesn't want to kill Paul. A panicking Sasha runs into her house, tears open her fridge, grabs a blood bag, and drains the whole thing in one gulp in her room. In this scene, with her big black coat, jet black hair with the bangs, and hunched over posture as she demolishes this bag of blood, excellent directorial work because she's giving hella monster vibes. She looks like fucking Frankenstein. And that's conducive to the narrative because she probably feels like a monster in that moment, and she probably doesn't like the feeling. It's great. It's a great mixture of both performance, specifically the actor, set designs, and also composition, the cinematographer framing it correctly. Excellent work. Also, in this scene, the lights are all flickering. I don't know if that's canon for vamps.
It seems, at least for this film, that when vampires, they're engaging predator mode, some electricity stuff happens.
When they're engaged in the suck.
What?
Nothing. We can move on, Lucas. Save me.
To me, I don't know, that didn't feel like, you know, a new addendum to the vampire lore, the vamps lore. It felt more like this magical realism of like trying to depict the primal lust and kind of pent up energy behind the feeding and the attack, the hunt.
I think you could also view it as some sort of directorial way of being like, hey, something's about to happen. Like they're setting you up for the later scenes where the lights flicker and Sasha goes predator mode. There doesn't need to be any sort of like naturalistic. It's just like the director's like, this is something that just happens.
Yeah. Again, it's like the opposite of subtle. We need some indication for the narrative importance of this particular event. Just make the lights flicker. It's fine, though. It's not distracting. I don't think it's stupid or contrived. I think it works. I really, really love when movies aren't subtle and pull it off. I think those are some of my favorite movies. So her parents come in. After she's fed, she pretends like she's all chill, like sits up. You know when your parents walked in on you smoking weed? Kind of like that. Her parents come in and give her the "we need to talk."
Intervention.
They confront her about the swirl cookie in her room.
Like she's doing drugs. Yeah, it's really funny. It's like, do you know this can kill you? As mom holds up a joint or something. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, is it canon that vampires can't eat food?
Mostly, yeah.
Yeah.
They either get really sick or they die.
All right, so this is all above board then. Good to know. Good to know. Her family then holds an intervention for her, not just her parents, but her aunt and her sister.
Cousin.
That's her cousin?
That's
Yeah.
her cousin.
Oh, for
She says it
fuck's
multiple
sake.
times.
They tell her she's going to go live with her cousin, Denise, where there are no blood bags, so she'll have to learn how to feed on humans.
Rehab. She's going to rehab.
Again, with like the queer themes of like the intervention the whole family knows, and like you're being sent away to get corrected and like be turned into a normal functioning person in society.
Hard cut to Denise's apartment, which I think is absolutely brilliant because we get a shot of Sasha grasping a blood bag between her sleeve-covered hands, staring up at several meat hooks dangling from the ceiling over a kitchen counter that looks more like an operating table, and a blood-red fridge with a chain wrapped around it. It's like from this cozy home that she once knew to this murder room that she's just expected to be comfortable in. She kind of bums around the apartment, tries to get cozy. It doesn't really work. It's not her vibe. Soon, Denise comes home and brings home 2 hitchhikers and offers one to Sasha. She refuses.
Sasha don't need it because her dad came in clutch.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, her dad packing her the cooler full of blood packs. It's like just helping you to get through your first week, sweetie.
Yeah,
Very
cute.
Oh. And then after that, we see she falls asleep and then wakes up, and the blood bags are all gone from the cooler. She goes and confronts her cousin and finds out that her cousin got rid of them all. After that, Paul goes to school. We get a little bit of Paul's life.
Wait. Hold up.
All right, okay, fine.
Damn.
I had one thing I wanted to mention. Sasha comes upstairs into the kitchen, and she's a bad her cousin's a bad roommate. She didn't do the dishes. She left a huge fucking mess in the kitchen from the hitchhikers. Yeah. It's just just massacre happened with these meat hooks and the kitchen table, and I was like, even in vampire culture, your roommate doesn't do the dishes.
Hey, this is Denise's house. She doesn't have to do this.
True. She can do it in the morning when she wakes up. We're not here to judge.
2 whole people. That's a big mess, Mitch. And
that is a big meal. That is a big meal.
It's exactly why you clean it up when you're done.
Well, to each their own.
It should be noted that we've had several configurations of roommates in the pod. Lucas and I live together. Mitch and Lucas. And Mitch
There's always a
constantly
fight.
Complained about Lucas not doing the dish. No, wait, it was the other way around.
It's the other way around. Me and Kira are the ones who never do the dishes. Like,
Lucas never.
I am Denise. I wanted to point out that it's really funny that she didn't do the dishes.
But also, that's no reason to hate someone. It's a little
Yeah,
frustration, but that's just roommate shit.
Yeah.
We're all valid.
Well, we're not all valid. Ben Shapiro's not valid.
No, I'm talking about all 3 of us here.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. All right. So yeah, the next day. Paul goes to school, and everyone treats him like shit for no reason. In gym class, a bat, a straight up bat.
Before the straight up bat. I do love this because, like, in this scene, Paul doesn't even say one single word. He is just there, and everybody, like, life is happening to him. He is not living life. Life is happening to him. And you just feel bad, but you're also like, come on, dude, just say something. And then there's all these people that are just, like, not giving him the space to talk either. It's sad.
Also, the gym teacher is so zany and weird.
Right? When the bat comes in, he's just blowing the whistle.
Yeah. He's like trying to call a foul on the play when the bat comes in. And also, the punishment for being late to gym class is wearing some slippers he knit himself. Like, what?
Honestly, that is a great punishment because then they're slipping and sliding around and people are making fun of them. Like, that's a social punishment if I ever saw one.
It's like the dunce cap, like the gym class equivalent of the dunce cap.
Good thing to note, the narrative, the core conflict of the narrative presents itself as Sasha needing to learn how to kill someone to survive. The actual core concept of the narrative is Paul learning to find the will to live. Not just Paul, actually. Paul and Sasha learning to find the will to live, which is a cute little inversion. Yeah. So yeah, Paul, they're in gym class. A bat shows up, starts flapping its wings. Everybody screams. People are fucking freaked out about bats. I don't get it. I think they're very cute. I like bats a lot. Probably why I like vampires. The bat flies in while they're playing badminton, and Paul, as the bat flies towards him, instinctually swings his racket and just deletes this bat.
Paul yeets the bat and then finishes him.
It made me very uncomfortable. It made me very sad.
Same. It's hard to watch, but you can tell it's hard for Paul too. After he kills the bat, his principal calls him and his mother into the office to tell Paul's mother that Paul's actually a horrible person for doing what he did.
So bad, dude. She basically calls him a serial killer.
Yeah, school shooter.
Paul's mother is also an MVP. Great mom. She's the only sensible person in Paul's life. It tells her that her son did nothing wrong and tells the principal to fuck off. During this encounter, Paul lets it slip that he's been thinking about killing himself.
Yeah, he says, the only person I'd ever hurt is myself, and leaves.
Yes. They sit in the car processing this. It's shown that Paul keeps the dead bat in his backpack.
Okay, that was a little weird. That was a little weird.
The principal had the right idea, I think, after seeing that.
But maybe he thought it was like Sasha.
Yeah. Because I think we did forget to mention that in the scene back when Paul and Sasha meet, that Paul recognizes that Sasha's fangs come out.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe he's just fucked. Maybe he is a serial killer.
I don't know. Maybe he had plans to bring it home and bury it, like give it a proper pay. Maybe he had altruistic motives rather than just like someone throwing in the garbage. We can't.
He probably did. Who's to say?
He's a sweet boy.
Paul's a good guy. Boy. He's a good guy. He's cute. I think he's a twink. He's a twink.
He's a twink.
Yeah. This is a twink-friendly podcast. We like twinks. I'm a twink. Well, I used to be a twink.
Yeah, she's twas.
Twas.
They being Paul and his mother, spend some time talking in the car, and she suggests he goes back to therapy, or not therapy, but a support group, because she thought that was helping, and she thinks that it would help again. So something we didn't mention before, it's not that important, but it's a detail that's relevant to this scene, is before, in Denise's apartment, before Denise showed up with the hitchhikers, Sasha was trying on some of her hats, and she tried on a really fuzzy furry hat that didn't really fit her very well. It wasn't her vibe. And when Denise got home, she's wearing this fucking big-ass furry fuzzy coat. Mink coat. I think it's a mink. And she looks villainous, like proper villainous. Just not really Sasha's vibe. Sasha's more pixie dream girl. Denise's
Cruella de Vil.
Yeah, perfect. Exactly. So after the scene between Paul and his mother, Sasha has graduated from a furry hat to a furry coat, much like her cousins. And they're both out for a night on the town. Denise tricks a boy into inviting them over to his house, and he obliges.
JP? I fucking love JP. It's like my favorite character.
I have it in the notes here where he was like talking about like, I'm living La Vida Loca. I literally have it in my notes. Where you been, Loca?
I like that when they get to his house, he's like, now, girls, we gotta be really quiet if we're gonna go in the hot tub because my dad's home.
Or did I mention that I have a hot tub? Yeah, it was the first thing you said.
Also, JP is definitely like a WRX bro. Like, that's his car. When he's stepping out of the club, he has a WRX.
What's a WRX?
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
It's a Subaru. It's a Subaru driven by people who inhale more vape smoke than they do air. JP is the gentleman that they convinced to come back home with them, or to invite them over to his house. Denise does so with the intention of getting Sasha to kill him. But once they get to JP's house, Sasha chickens out again. Bagok! Denise says, okay, that's fine. I'll kill him, but you have to watch so you know what to do. So she hops out of the car and just tackles JP to the ground and starts sucking that blood from his neck. But while she's doing the suck, Sasha leans over and presses the button that makes the horn go.
Okay, wow. This is where I bring it back to the vegan theme of like, one, you idiot, don't honk the horn. This is literally an attempted murder. And thing number two, she's one of those vegans who won't let anybody else eat meat just because she's not going to eat meat.
She's like one of those vegans, like holding arms across the meat aisle in a supermarket.
But also, we appreciate her saving JP.
JP deserved to live.
Sasha, after she's done honking the horn, exits the vehicle, and then we're treated to our second moment of Sasha running as she bolts from the scene in a very exaggerated way. It's very funny. Sasha running in this movie is always hilarious. She leaves Denise alone to deal with it. Alone now, Sasha, downtown, gets herself some poutine, which is a traditional French-Canadian dish.
That's the other way you knew it was Canada. It was Quebecois, not France, Lucas. You think the French eat poutine, dog?
Hey, Canadian food is very global. You know, people love a good poutine.
What's Canadian other than poutine?
Canadian
Maple
bacon.
syrup candies.
Maple syrup.
Okay, all right. I thought... Fucking whatever.
Fish.
Fish!
Just all fish.
What is poutine?
French fries, gravies, and curds.
Cheese?
Cheese curds, specifically.
What the fuck? Wait, what are cheese curds?
When you're making cheese, it's the parts that curdle and curd up.
And usually it's deep fried after. When you consume it on its own, it's usually not like just like that. It's usually deep fried.
I've never had poutine before.
Me neither.
Should try poutine and report back next pod. Okay. So alone now, Sasha gets herself some poutine and goes to sit on a park bench and take a bite out of it before the lights start flickering again, and allows her to notice a sign for a suicidal support group.
But before all that, before she gets the poutine, there's this like scene where she's at the diner where she gets the poutine, and she's seeing this group of friends sitting at a table eating a meal. And I really like that because it's this like, why can't I be normal? Looking at these, you know, people that are her age having a quote unquote normal life, and her just sitting there wishing that she could be, you know, part of that world.
Yes, and it's cool that the normalcy is centered around food, that these people can enjoy a meal together in a way she'll never understand, which is a cool idea later on in the movie about like just the little things that you don't notice about being a vampire that makes your life harder. Also, it's not misophonia or representation, but the idea of like wanting to be able to share meals with people is a very common thread for people with misophonia. So, hell yeah, that's cool. Also, if you have misophonia, this movie probably won't trigger it. There's a couple slurping scenes, so if that's not your thing, avoid it. But yeah. Anyway, she sees the advertisement for the suicidal support group and shows up to it, where she sees Paul again, who has decided to go. They notice each other, but they don't say anything to each other. They sit in chairs opposite from each other, staring across the room. She's asked to speak, so she says all she can without admitting that she's a vamp, though Paul knows. You can clearly tell he knows, saying that she's forced to do something bad or else she'll die. The organizer says, "We're here to help and remind each other that death is not the solution." Paul responds, "I disagree. Death can be an interesting solution. I don't enjoy life, and I'd gladly give mine up for a good cause." Cue some romantic music and romantic eye contact between the two. You feel like you know where it's going, but it doesn't matter.
Like you said about this movie, it's not subtle. In this scene, those other people, they might not know that she's a vampire, but they might be like, what the heck is happening? Is he being like, yo, kill me? Like, I feel like that is very transparent. I feel like other people in that room would be concerned.
Or like pull her aside, like for her story, be like, "Do you need help? Like,
Yeah.
what's the situation you're in?"
Who's forcing you to do what bad things? Yeah.
After the support group, they meet up, and Sasha invites him over to her house. In her room, we dive fucking headfirst into some indie Tweeland stuff as the two make awkward small talk, listen to music together, and exchange witty, romantic-coded dialogue flavored by the premise at hand, which in this case is vampire shit. It's cute, it's fun, you feel like you know where it's going, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, this is when the film enters sort of what I would call the vibes-based era of the movie, where at this point you're here for the laughs, the premise, and purely aesthetic vibes, you know?
Yeah. And I was bought in. I was like,
I was
God,
bought
I love cute indie twee movies. I wish to God that I had found this movie in high school. This movie would have made high school Ben a completely different person. Well, no, it would have done the same thing that 500 Days of Summer did to me, which has ruined my life.
It also didn't exist when you were in high school, so you couldn't have found it.
I know.
But 500 Days of Summer wrecked you. Like, I remember years into college how wrecked you were from that movie still.
Maybe we'll do 500 Days of Summer someday. I won't watch it, though. Recently, I did watch it. I was like, oh, I'm a grown-ass man. I'll be fine. I haven't seen this movie in like 8 years, but it's fine. I'm hip. I'm okay. Watched it. I was out of commission for like 2 fucking days. Anyway, all right. They're enjoying each other's company in Sasha's room. It's awkward, but they're getting along, but also they're both nervous because of the matter at hand. Eventually, they sit on Sasha's bed. Paul tilts his head to the side, offers her his neck. She goes in for the kill, and then chickens out again. This time it's for a good reason, though, because her fangs aren't coming out. So she runs away and tries to check on him.
She has ED.
I do like the amount of like similarities between like this scene and like a typical scene you'd see in a rom-com where it's like 2 teens figuring out how to like have sex or how to be physically intimate for the first time. He even recommends like we can try it with the lights off. Like it's so fun, so cute.
That's my favorite part of this scene is that it's really, really good especially from a script writing perspective, because Paul is trying essentially everything he can to make it as easy and as comfortable as possible for Sasha to just kill him. And she just can't do it. It's hilarious.
He's very considerate.
If I'd wrote this, I would have been so proud. So she asks if he has a dying wish, and he says he'd like to beat up his bully Henry. So off they go. It comes out of nowhere. It's a very loose concept. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The audience isn't buying it, but Paul is. There's never any cinematic indication, either from the actor, the cinematographer, anything, that Paul sees through this facade. There's a lot of subtlety to be unpacked and displayed there and explored cinematically. It just isn't, because that's not what this movie is. And that's fine. It doesn't ruin it. It's just a missed opportunity, in my opinion.
I think that's maybe, I mean, it's not a criticism for me of the film. I think it does it a lot where it sort of grazes the cheek of problems or ideas, but never fully hits on them.
When you say it grazes the cheek of certain problems, what problems are you talking about?
I think it tends to float purely on this coming of age space with hints of issues around depression, feeling like you don't fit in, suicidal ideation.
That's a good point, because the suicidal ideas in this movie, Paul's whole struggle with suicidal ideas is used narratively as a coming of age story.
Like I said, in this film, it doesn't bother me because I'm just here for the ride, and it's a fun ride.
Next stop, finding Henry so that Paul can tear him a new one. They can't find him at the bowling alley, though, where he works.
I'm sorry, did I miss, did we do all the things that he did to work up towards going to the bowling alley?
No. Well, he doesn't do anything to work up to the bowling alley. He goes to the bowling alley, chickens out because they can't find Henry. And then Sasha says, well, is there something we can do to like build your confidence up to this? And in response to that, they start going around town and flipping middle fingers and throwing rocks at and spraying down with hoses all the people that have treated Paul like shit up until this point throughout the movie. So on the nose, Fucking Ferris Bueller's Day Off as shit.
Okay, so like one thing is in his sort of spree of confidence building tomfoolery, he goes to the guidance counselor's house and throws the dead bat at her, which like it definitely is going to confirm her bias that he's an absolute twisted freak.
Yeah, but he's dying, so who cares? I love that. Throw that dead bat.
Also, has he had that dead bat with him the whole time?
That's the more concerning question. Yeah.
Like, where has he had it?
It's such a cute scene, just like her helping him find his voice. It's very fun. It's light. It's whimsical. Then it just like leads right into some heavier themes.
Yeah, after a successful night of living his best life, they have a heart-to-heart. But Paul says he has one more thing to do before they go to Henry's. So they go to Paul's house, where he leaves a suicide note for his mother on his bed.
That was the hard thing that I was talking about. That's heavy. From like this light, whimsical, getting revenge on your like bullies and the people that treated you badly to this scene, and you're just like, ooh. And then to lay it up with the fact that then he runs into his mom.
That hug has so much weight too, because he's like, I'm going to a party, like high school people do. I'm gonna leave now. Bye. And he like, you can feel like for her it's just like, oh, okay, see you later, son. But for him it's his goodbye, and it's gut wrenching.
I think she's also a little bit proud of him though too, because this is some shy kid who like, hey, not only is there a girl over and she's a manic pixie dream girl vampire, but also like we're going to a high school party. Like how very out of the ordinary for his situation. Mm-hmm. And I feel like just with this whole movie, we've been dealing with the themes of suicide in a very light manner, very jokey manner, and like, oh, are they going to do the deed in Sasha's room? And we're kind of like rooting for them to do the deed. But this scene, I think, really humanizes the effects of suicide, the costs of it. And it puts that weight right up front.
The reminder of who you leave behind by not being there.
They leave to a party, the final stop, Henry's party. So Paul can give him a fist sandwich. Or shit, a knuckle sandwich. Not a fist sandwich. A knuckle sandwich. Instead, Paul ends up in a headlock because Henry wants to tell him a joke about nacho cheese. It's the nacho cheese joke. If you don't know the nacho cheese joke, then Google it.
Fromage du nacho.
Instead, in the headlock, Paul ends up biting Henry's hand, making him bleed, and solidifying the idea that vamping someone up is a metaphor for fighting for your will to live in this movie. They then run away, but Sasha, presumably faint from having eaten nothing all day, passes out. She wakes up in the park to drops of blood falling on her lips. Paul has cut his hand to feed her. It's cute, it's fun, it's adorable. Henry shows up at the park while they're sitting there to get revenge, but Sasha goes full 30 Days of Night mode, latching onto his back and giving him the Dracula treatment. She kills him. She fucking murks Henry.
And she learns that you can hunt bullies. Just bullies. Hunt people, but it's bullies.
She learns it's okay to kill people as long as they're bullies.
Yeah. Use your powers for good.
Let's be honest. Henry wasn't going to amount to much anyway.
She saved society, really, if you think about it.
After she's done sucking the blood from Henry, she tells Paul to leave and calls her cousin, Denise.
I love that she's like, go away. I mean, partially because who knows if she can control her primal drive and like if she might attack him. But also I think it's mostly just like, don't look at me. Don't perceive me while I'm doing something I find so shameful.
Oh.
Some people don't like to be watched while they eat,
I would have been
true.
like, I think it's hot.
You simp.
Yeah, fuck you. I'll simp. I'll fucking simp for Sasha. She's cute.
Yeah.
So she tells Paul to leave her, calls Denise. They dig a hole for... What the fuck what are you doing? Look.
I don't know what you're talking about, Ben.
So Lucas is doing it. He has a pen and he's digging it through his finger hole.
Ben,
The universal sign language for fucking.
that's crazy. You're talking crazy.
Why
No
are
one's
you doing that?
anything.
That's not relevant.
Ben, I have no idea what you're talking about.
What the fuck? Don't
crazy.
gaslight the audience like this. Or me. All right, let me start the fuck over. They dig a hole for Henry's body, but while they're doing it, Denise says that they need to find Paul and kill him so he doesn't blow their cover, question mark. I get it. You know, they're vampires. They're supposed to fly under the radar. Nobody knows who they are and stuff. But that's not really established throughout the movie.
They're like the mob. No witnesses, you know?
Yeah, but that's never, like, established.
I get what you're meaning. Like there is no sense of urgency to conceal things. Like when Denise is figuring out how to dispose of the body in the park, she like zips him up into a body bag and throws him in the back seat. No sense of urgency. Like they're just in a public space throwing a body bag into the back trunk as if it's, I don't know, putting away your picnic and putting it in the trunk. So I get what you're saying. There's never this urgency or stress to keep things concealed. After they attempt to bury Henry, Denise states how they have to kill Paul or else their secret is revealed. And Sasha ends up whacking Denise over the head with the shovel to go and save her twink boy toy.
Yeah. I wish I was a twink boy toy for a vampy pixie dream. This episode's turning into a very weird cry for help.
Yeah, it is. I feel like I'm on a Craigslist personal ad.
She takes the car, goes and gets Paul and brings him to a hotel room to hide him from her sister. It's very cute, this scene. I really like this scene a lot between the two characters. One thing that's noticed that Lucas had brought up before, when that scene where she gets the poutine and she notices all those people sitting in the diner talking to each other and just feels left out, feels like she doesn't belong. And it's one of those simple things, sharing a meal with somebody else, that isn't available to vampires because they can't be out during the day and they can't eat food because it'll kill them. In this scene, in the hotel room, while they're lying on the bed, Paul asks Sasha what she would do if she had one dying wish. Or if she had a dying wish, what would it be? And she answers, she wants to see the sun. And that is exactly what Lucas was talking about before. It's a simple thing, so simple you wouldn't even think about it if you weren't in her position, but vampires can't look at the sun. If they go out in the sun, they die. I don't know if you knew this, but that's what happens. She doesn't even think about it to the point where she doesn't even open her eyes while they're lying on the bed. But it clearly moves Paul. He smirks about it. He laughs about it. And I think, again, I criticize the movie a lot for lacking subtlety, but there's a lot of moments in this movie where you watch the characters' performances and are, as an audience member, invited to analyze and sort of speculate about what the characters are thinking and feeling, which is cool. And this is one of those. You can kind of work your gears and think, what is Paul thinking in this moment? And in my opinion, he's sort of contending with the silliness of wanting to end his own life. The silliness of like having all these complaints and not even recognizing how hard it is for somebody who he cares very deeply about and how that resonates within him and changes his perspective, which is really, really cool.
The normalcy that he takes for granted in his day-to-day life. Like, yeah, he has bullies and things, but, you know, he gets to have communal meals in public and see the sun, like things that in Sasha's society she can't do, and that can be a symbol for like cultural limitations or just, you know, physical limitations. You know, there's a lot of people who can't do certain things because of ability or circumstance that he realizes he's taken all these things for granted, which can be a thing that can pull you out of suicidal ideation, like not necessarily being like, other people have it worse than me, but recognizing all the good things you have, or the simple goods of day-to-day life.
I also think that like the scene leading up to this where she's driving him to the motel being like, stop smiling, this is serious, my cousin wants to kill you. You know, he's uncontrollably smiling because somebody cares for him, like enough to do something about like protecting him. Like that's cute. Seeing somebody else care for you that much, you're like, hell, well, maybe I don't have it so bad, or maybe there is more to this weird wacky thing called life.
Yeah. Not only does someone care for you, but a manic pixie dream girl vampire cares for you.
Oh my god.
They fall asleep, but when
Just
Sasha
kidding. I don't
wakes
like
up,
this movie anymore.
Ben ruined it.
they both fall asleep together. But when Sasha wakes up, she sees Paul, fueled by multiple cups of coffee, has concocted an idea. She has to turn him into a vampire, according to Paul.
Which, okay, I know we literally just talked about all the reasons why he's starting to, like, he's taking his life for granted, and that he, you know, that these are maybe, like, good reasons why he doesn't want to commit suicide anymore. But also, it's very quick, and I feel like this is one of those things in the movie that's just, like, not explored, or, like, or it's just not delved into too deeply. I don't know, it's just a quick turnaround. He goes from, I don't want to exist anymore, to, yeah, let me exist for eternity. Not just for a lifetime, but never be able to die.
Vampires can die.
I know they can die, but they, like, you know, it's if you're thinking about committing suicide, you don't say, oh, you know what, sign me up for life plus a couple hundred more years added on top of that.
I think it's a symbol of him, like, having something to live, finding something to live for. I think that's the turn, you know. It's a movie, so, and the time scale is short, so.
Fair. Yeah, this is an hour and 30-minute movie. It was a quick one.
It's quick. It's quick.
Little banger.
It's one of those things that sort of comes out of nowhere. It's there as like a function of to emphasize what's there. And again, that's not, it doesn't ruin the movie. It's just simple. It does what it says on the tin. It exists because it has to. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It doesn't ruin its welcome. It doesn't piss in your Cheerios. It just is. And you accept it, and that's all you need to do, and you can move on. So this idea of Paul's sort of solves both of their problems, because he won't be killed by Denise, because she can't kill him because he'll be immortal and a vampire, and you can't, I guess vampires can't kill him, but whatever. Now that he has a will to live. And also, his idea is that they'll be able to source consenting suicidal people from support groups that he's attended, and they'll be able to drain them of their delicious blood and give them a dignified send-off.
It's the name of the movie.
Yeah, you thought the title was too long for them to say it in the movie? They say it in the movie. Not the whole thing, but...
It's written down. It's written down in full.
That's true, yes. There's a label. She says that's going to be tough to turn him into a vampire, since her fangs won't come out. But he reminds her that they did come out when she saw him in danger, when she killed Henry. So to just think of him in danger, and that should do it. And guess what? That works. In a very sexual way. I don't know. I got really sexy vibes from this. It's not sexual in the sense that it's like hot and steamy. Okay, so for the viewers at home, what happens is Paul lies on the bed on his back. Sasha sits on the end of the bed, and the camera dollies into her face while all the lights are flashing. She has her eyes clenched shut as she's trying to imagine Henry or Paul in danger, and she's breathing really hard, and she breathes harder and harder and harder as the camera gets closer and closer to her face, and then her eyes bolt open. She's got her fangs, one eye's bigger than the other, and she's overtaken with instinct and just latches onto Paul and digs her fucking fangs into his neck. I think that's very sexual.
I mean, like, anytime that the fangs come out, it reminds me of, like, yeah, it is sexual in nature in the sense of, like, being horny and, like, you're a part of your body not being able to be controlled, and it's reacting to that moment of this external stimuli. The first scene where Paul is bleeding and she gets horny and her fangs come out and she's just like, oh fuck, I can't control this, I gotta get out of here.
Which is, I guess, a theme. We haven't really explored that theme or talked about exploring that theme much, but there are very clear themes throughout the entire movie. Because coming of age usually goes hand in hand with like discovering your sexuality in one way or another, and this movie has a lot of that.
And it's definitely more text than subtext, as Ben likes to say, where they're literally in a motel. He's on the bed.
Well, we were a good Christian podcast until now.
Never. Hail Satan.
Now that we're discussing such things as penetration, oh God.
Anyway.
And then like Sasha goes a little hard on this one.
Yeah, I was gonna say she overdoes it a little bit, and he's like, he's like SpongeBob and Patrick in Sandy's house, just like, he's completely drained, just no liquid left in the body.
He tries to fight back, but she pins his fucking hands down. I have that in my notes too. She might have gone a little too far because he doesn't move. So she calls her family for help. Also, in this scene,
And JP.
JP. Well, he's part of the family now.
Yeah, he is part of the family. I like this like rando like vampire Chad that they're just stuck with now. I love JP. He's so funny.
I know we didn't bring it up, but when Sasha brings Paul over to Denise's apartment, JP is there and he's like, "Mi casa, su casa," and she's like, "What did I tell you about speaking Spanish?"
And he like gets his fangs and he's poking him. Shit's hilarious. In this scene, after she calls her family, she gets a moment to wander around the motel room, sad by what she's just done, sees the notes that Paul has written, and is a sad vampire with blood on her face in motel lighting. It is a mood. It's a fucking mood. That's like, I don't know. It might just be a personal thing. I got hella vibes from this scene. Just visceral fucking. I'm telling you, bro, if I found this movie in high school, it would have changed my life. It would have been my 500 Days of Summer. Everybody has one. Okay, fine. Fuck it. I'll move on. Her family comes by and gives Paul a vampy blood transfusion to turn him into a vampire. Right now, Lucas and Mitch are miming killing themselves with guns.
I'm trying to murder-suicide, but I can't. Mitch, are you to my right or are you to my left?
I think that's a bit distasteful, talking with this movie in question. They turn Paul into a vampire with a blood transfusion. And while they assist, they're a little bit perturbed that Sasha didn't just outright kill him. But she defends her actions proudly as her own, which that's the note that I made way earlier in this episode when Lucas was talking about, and Mitch, you were also talking about this, about feeling like you don't belong, being the black sheep in the family, this queer-coded idea of like being not normal. Your family has this normal code of ethics and culture that you don't fit into. Yeah, quote unquote normal, that you don't play along with. And even in this scene, her family doesn't necessarily like condone her actions, but she stands up for herself and says that this was my decision. I wanted this. Just fucking help me.
Which you gotta love that.
Cool.
Someone that's confident enough to be like, y'all aren't gonna agree with me, but fuck it. I am confident in my own beliefs. This is what's gonna happen.
Sasha's character's great. Her father's there too, and he's, as always, great father. Even Denise takes some time to sit with her and extends the amount of affection you would expect from her. She's clearly repressing her affectionate attitudes, but she does offer a little bit of affection in this moment, which is cute. Then we move on to the end of the movie, the last scene, where Sasha and Vampy Paul, brand new Vampy Paul, visit Paul's mother where she works as a nurse at a hospital. They enter a room where an elderly woman is. They make her comfortable, talk to her for a little while, and then Sasha busts out her electronic piano and plays her a piece of music while they drain all of her blood into a bag.
The concert is very cute. It's, a sign of respect of sending off this person with a beautiful moment. It is not just treating them as this is the these are the cows that get full range. They eat acorns and only the best grass.
I can't believe you just I can't believe you just compared euthanasia.
Good soup.
Anyway, they have a pretty sweet gig playing euthanasia concerts for elderly folks.
And that's it. That's the movie. Humanist vampire seeking consenting suicidal person. That's it. It's a quick one. It's a simple one. A straightforward one. I recommend you watch it. I think it's great. I like it a lot. I feel like I've seen it, I think 4 times now. And after all those viewings, I'm really not picking up on much more. I want to. I think there is more to be picked up on, or valid ways of interpreting it that I'm just not approaching in the right way. I do think the movie doesn't do itself any favors in that respect, but I don't think it needs to. One thing I will say about Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person is it's a movie I really want to give a super high rating to, but I have to cap myself just because there are things that I perceive as clear-cut quality issues with the script and with the filmmaking process in general.
You love it, but the craft isn't quite up to exemplary levels.
Right. And whether that's a me issue, obviously I'm not the arbiter of film quality, and there's a bigger conversation to be had about there's a bigger conversation. There's a conversation to be had about how much your subjective opinion on the objective quality of movies is subjective or objective. It's a whole fucking thing, and it's very complicated. Whether a movie could have flaws but still make you feel this way, whether that's a problem, if I'm just causing issues for myself by being a nerd, I don't know. It doesn't matter. This movie is a meta movie for me. It makes me think a lot about movies, which I really like. That happens a lot with independent, low-budget movies for me, is since you can see the way it was made, since you can see all the creases on where it was folded, you have sort of a closer connection to the process, to the creators. You can relate more to those people behind the movie. And they usually have smaller teams, so there's less people involved on it and less hands in the pie. And I really like that. There's a lot of low budget, low squad movies that do that for me, and this is one of them. So, bravo.
My closing thoughts or statement. Yeah, it was a fun ride. I really enjoyed it. There's not a lot really greater to sink your teeth into, but
fuck you.
Yeah, it's just it's a real nice film. It's a nice movie. It's a good change of pace from the heady stuff we've been doing lately. So thanks for the suggestion. I really enjoyed it. I think it will be somewhere in my rotation where one day I'll be looking for a pick-me-up, just easygoing fun time, and I'll pick this one out. So thanks, Ben.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, for my concluding thoughts, I will say I feel very similarly to both of you. I want to rate it higher than what I'm going to rate it, but there's this element that's missing from it where it is what it is. It is cute. It's funny. It's there is some aspects to analyzing, a coming of age story and some cute moments there. But it's very much, it is what it is. I thought the acting was amazing. It definitely pulled this movie through. There are some really cool stylized like scenes. I had a fun time with this, so thank you, Ben. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't make it, but yeah.
Thank you for recommending it.
All right, so ratings. I give this movie a 7 out of 10, or a light to decent 7.
Yeah, I'd say a solid 7 for me. I initially probably thought of it more in the 8 range, but upon thinking about it a little bit more, I'm like, yeah, it was. I've been watching a lot of slop lately, boys, and this was such a breath of fresh air. Not from you. I've been watching a lot of other movies, and just like having a good movie to watch just really made me overrate it initially.
I thought you were saying about the movies we've been recommending.
No.
We've been recommending slop.
No, I don't think you guys have recommended any slop. They at least have made me think, even if I didn't like them. But I've been watching some god-awful slop lately on my own time. So yeah, it's a 7 for me.
And I'm going to round this off with our first time all agreeing upon the same rating, a 7 out of 10. I wanted to rate it an 8, but there was just something that was stopping me every time I was thinking about this rating.
All right, viewers, it's time. It is time for that section of our podcast where we go and scour the internet for the craziest, most unhinged, batshit insane, bonkers, off the wall review of this movie that we can find. My review comes from Cronus01 from IMDb. You're gonna have to bear with me because this review must have been translated to English from a language that was not English because it's incoherent. Okay, here we go. Because I have to watch a movie that I already know how it ends, predictable movie, ridiculous and obvious love story, and also trivial. Because I have to watch a film that I already know that it ended with such a predictable ending, Pretty Woman. It seems absurd to me that there is no emotion beyond the whole film resembles a lot to another 2007 film, letting me enter with the difference that here we have a really poor and hateful love story as the male protagonist, who is the classic clumsy boy, who, however, is all right. I'm really tired of these trivial films written only for the mass without any inspiration. Perhaps it is destined for the public of very young children. The last scene is to make the stomach turn. How trivial. Thank you, Cronus01. I agree with most of what you said there.
There was a lot of ones that compared it to Let the Right One In, which I think was the translation. Like there was somewhere in there that was Let the Right One In, which is a film I've never seen, but it came up a lot when I was looking at reviews. This is from Letterboxd user Ali Baby. They gave it 1 star. I'm very picky with media when it comes to suicide as a main topic, but that aside, I think they should change the title to Autistic Vampire Edging Overaged Incel Person. Ending destroyed any charm this movie had for me. To suddenly go from suicidal to living for years as a vampire, all because a girl finally talked to you. God, I want to punch. I want to fucking punch you in the face, nerd. Thank you for that scathing review, Ali Baby. It made me laugh.
Jesus fucking Christ, yo. That's a horrible thing to say.
This is from Andres from Letterboxd. They rated it 4 stars. She's so me. I would also risk everything for my twink.
Yeah, that's it for this episode. Next episode, we're going to be watching, at the request of Lucas, Sorry to Bother You. I don't think we explained what the epoch for this, what the theme for this epoch
or what epochs are for the viewers.
It's all right. This theme was kind of half.
Kira, throw this at the front of the episode. We're gonna explain.
Oh shit! I just hit my fucking-
Epoch.
Yeah. So an epoch is contained within a month, and within that month we will have a theme that Mitch, you take this one.
It'll contain a theme that each of us will be able to recommend a movie towards. And once each of us has recommended one movie, it'll be over and we will move on to the next epoch. Sometimes the epochs will be tight and clean and thematic, and sometimes they'll be loosey-goosey.
And the theme for this epoch is listener submitted films. And we don't have a lot of listeners yet, so
We don't have any listeners.
it's just us. So we're the ones who
So
just,
we're lying.
which isn't true actually. Week 3, my movie is going to be Blue Velvet, which was suggested by Stefan, friend of the show, who did our intro music.
Woo.
Yeah, we needed a break from all the heady, high-minded shit, so Mitch chose fucking goddamn Blue Velvet. No, Mitch didn't. Sorry, Stefan did. Also, rest in peace, David Lynch.
Yeah, R.I.P. David Lynch.
All right, listeners, thank you for hanging out. We'll talk to you next time.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.